Okay. Okay, so welcome to the Amherst Energy and Climate Action Committee. I'm going to dispense with our usual introductory statement because we're running a little late today. Um, so the first thing on the agenda is always to find a note taker. Um, who did it last week? It was Steve,
I
right?
did it.
No, it
Emily.
was it was
I did it.
Emily. And before that, was it Michael?
It was me.
It was Don. So Michael or Steve, one of you like to volunteer?
Feel like I haven't done it in a while.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Do it.
Okay, so we have a note taker. Next thing is to review the minutes from last week, which I have right here. I'm going to share the screen. ECAC minutes from 211. And I will scroll slowly through them as soon as I get you guys back where I can see you. There you are. All right, so does the attendance look right? Yeah. Minutes. All right, we talked about member outreach. Okay. I did not have a chance to do it. I said I would do for the education series. Sorry about that. But I also know that Mindy Dome has been very busy lately with things going on in the State House. There's a lot more information on House Bill 4744, which is now 5151 for the announcements today, and an action item associated with that for everyone. Okay, I don't see anything to change. Does anyone else see anything that needs fixing? Is there a move to accept the minutes?
Lori, could you stop sharing if you don't mind?
Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Is that okay with everyone?
And just before we make a motion, we should. There we
Okay.
go. Thank you.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Second.
I second.
And in no particular order, Goldner,
Yes.
Dorr,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Issing,
Abstain.
Allison.
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved.
Hey, now let's see. Do we have any public?
No.
No. Okay, so public comments. We can go right on to the Sustainability Festival. So I'm going to get up my notes here because I want to make sure I take this down. But whoever's taking notes, this is important because we need to drum up support and people to show up for the Sustainability Festival. So would you give us the dates again? It's probably
Sure.
right in the.
It's one date and it's April 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. But we certainly need people to set up first and then to break down at the end of the event. So a little longer, so more like, 9 to 4.
Okay, so Sustainability Festival. So this is a fun thing, and so again, April 25th from 10 to 3, right?
Yep.
But we need folks to show up as early as 8 to set up. 8:30 is probably fine, even 9. Um, and we also need to make sure we have everything we need. So as usual, we will need a tent. So let's do that first. That's usually the easier part. So where's the tent coming from? Anyone have a tent we can borrow? Stephanie, does the town have a tent we can use?
I can double check, but if somebody has a tent, it would be a lot easier.
I have one. I think it's still in the basement. It's pretty big diameter, sort of an octagonal shape. It's
Oh,
not square. It might not fit well between the other booths if we have a square space.
Is it bigger than 10 by 10, Steve?
I think it is.
Okay,
hmm.
well, we could, I mean, I do the layout, so I can easily find a way to put it at the end so that it expands.
Ah, so we can expand.
Or usually there's a break between sections, so
Yeah.
just put it on the end of something.
Okay.
Octagonal could make it a little awkward to, usually we have a table out front. Would a table fit hanging out the side of it? Are
Um,
the sides open completely?
the sides are open. I think there's a mosquito net option, but we don't need that. And I forget what the length of an individual side is. It's pretty big.
Okay,
I
so
can look at it and make some measurements and report back next time or report to Stephanie, and then we can
okay.
decide if that's going to work.
If you can do that, Steve, and then in the meantime, I'll see if we have an extra tent, if the town has one.
Okay.
I forgot who brought it last year.
Trying to think about.
Uh, I forget, I'm sorry, was it Caitlin?
Oh, was it Caitlin? Okay.
I think Caitlin had the tent last year.
So we need a tent. I can bring tables again. I usually bring tables. So I'll bring tables or a table, and a couple of chairs. But if you have chairs, if you have a chair you like sitting in, actually, I'd sort of appreciate it if maybe someone else can bring. Anyone have a couple of chairs they can bring, or should I? I do have two, sort of beach chairs. They're high up beach chairs, but they're still beach chairs. So you sort of sink into them. Um,
I have a couple of chairs that I'm happy to use. I won't be around later in the day, so if I could pick them up from somebody else later.
that's fine. That always works fine.
Okay.
So I can bring the tables. I have a banner. And assuming we have someone to sit in the ECAC booth, I will also bring my heat pump booth, my heat pump help booth,
Oh yeah.
my heat pump help 5 cents booth. Heat pump help 5 cents, right? Help booth. And what else do we need? I think every year we try to find a computer to bring up the sustainability website, and every year we decide it's too much effort and nobody wants it, and lending a computer is difficult and pain in the neck to bring stuff around. So I think we probably won't do that. But we could do something that we've done in the past, which is if we bring an easel and a big pad of paper, we could have people write their thoughts down on what they'd like to see ECAC doing, what they'd like to see the town doing. It's been a couple of years since we've done that. Is that worth trying? Should we get a big pad of paper and an easel?
Yeah, I think that's nice to let people give some feedback.
Now,
If
the
we
last
don't
time
have freebie things to give away like some booths do, we can at least have people leave their
Ooh,
comments.
maybe I can. Ooh, freebies to give away would be great. What can we get that's not plastic? And I mean,
I was
I
gonna
would
say,
fund it,
please
right?
just make sure it's not plasticky crap.
Not
Yeah.
plasticky crap. Something to give away that is not plastic crap. Okay. If anyone has any brilliant ideas, I will ask around. I'd be willing to donate something to buy 100 little somethings that people could walk away with if it'll help
If
our
there's
cause.
well, I don't know about my budget yet, but if you think of something, I might be able to get it as part of the festival budget. But I haven't quite met our festival funding yet, so I'm still waiting on one of our major sponsors. So people, as always, our vendors and the folks who participate are just always so positive and eager for this event. You know, it's really very heartwarming actually,
Yeah.
to send out the message because people have been writing back and saying, I can't wait, and this makes me feel like it's spring, and it's just very lovely. So we already have like entertainment pretty much full. We have demos already that are going to happen. So
Cool.
so we're pretty well set. But it's just a matter of getting the funding. The other half of the funding is what I'm just waiting on. So and that's from the utility.
Okay. If there's anything we can do to help, let us know. So, okay, so if we're going to do an easel and paper, we need somebody to bring an easel and some way of getting a big pad of paper. Jesse used to do this, but I think he used it as part of his job. So if anyone has a big old easel and one of those giant pads of paper that you can write on, or even a whiteboard or something, I guess would work. No luck there. I
Potentially have the big pad of paper. Let me look.
Does it have to be that way, or can we have small pieces of paper that people like put in a box or something like that?
It could be that too.
I have a box that has a hole in it that was used specifically for that purpose. So I could bring that, and if you want, I can also make little pieces of paper. So I could get that prepared for you.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Should we have a question for them? In the past, we've asked things like, what have you done to electrify your house, or to help with climate change, or and people wrote down all sorts, or sort of what have you done? What would you like the town to do? Sort of questions. So the box can be what would you like the town to do, or maybe that could even be one of these. How about yellow sticky things just on a piece of, just have them posted on, you know what I mean? And they can organize it so that everybody who wants better bike paths can, keep adding to that column, sort of thing.
We did something like that a few years ago at the block party. We had something on the board and people could put
stickies. Oh, I still have those. I bought a bunch of little colored dots.
Colored dots.
And people would put something on that they wanted to see, and then other people would add colored dots to it. That was cool. I can bring the dots.
That's pretty cool.
That would be a good way to do it. So a suggestion box that for things they don't want to put on there, and then maybe stuff that what would you like the town to do, and colored dots everywhere.
So what do you want? What do you want for the suggestion box then? Do you
Well,
want
bring the
that
suggestion
to-
box that you suggested, because that'll be for people to put things in that they'd rather not publicly, and maybe it's something personal that they want, or maybe there's something.
Or maybe it could be both, like put, something you've done, like what have you done, and
What have
or
you done?
and
What would
and or what would you like to see the town do? I think the way you framed that before, Lori,
Yeah.
would be they could do both.
Yeah, we could do town could be a suggestion box, and what have you done could be either way. But I think having the suggestion box there, whatever tools we get, we'll make use of them. Is the way I see it, right?
Well, I was just thinking because I could put something on the box, so it's kind of self-explanatory, and people don't need someone to sort of talk them through doing that. Could just have
Okay. So
paper
what should the town be doing to? How do we want to phrase it? Ideas? What should be on the box?
Something like, I don't know, something, I mean, it has to be like kind of short
Yeah.
and sweet, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, suggestions to improve or advance Amherst sustainability, or I don't know, it's probably got to be shorter than that almost.
How can the town improve sustainability in Amherst?
Or you could just, I think for the suggestion box, is that what you're talking about, Michael?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about
Mhm.
the bigger-
Yeah, the suggestion box.
So that could just be suggestions to advance Amherst sustainability.
Okay.
It's that's what you said, Michael, and I wrote it down. So I thought that was good.
Okay.
That sounds good. Okay. And then we should have them put their name and contact information on there so that we can solicit them to be an ECAC member if we like their ideas. We should do that. Would you like to be an ECAC member?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
That's yeah.
That can be a separate. Would you like to join ECAC? And I'll bring some little forms or I'll bring a spreadsheet for them to just fill out. I have lots of these. Somehow over the years, I have collected a large number of these nice plastic clipboards.
Plastic.
And I have plenty of paper, so something says so. Would you like to join ECAC, Lori? Bring a clipboard and sign up. Okay, so we'll nail that down a little more last time, but some sort of a thing where they can indicate what they've already done, a suggestion box for what they want us to do, and then a sign up.
Yeah.
Would be even better is if we could have a raffle for the suggestion box, you know.
Raffles
Some sort of
are
a-
oddly problematic. Like there's some
Oh.
legal stuff around having raffles.
Okay,
So
forget it.
we can't go down there.
Huh.
Right. I mean, just a free one, not collecting money. Just pick one out of the box. We pick a suggestion out of the box and give away a chocolate bar or something. I don't know.
Well, you could just have a thing for Hershey Kisses.
There you go.
Just give them away.
You know, chocolate is the best way to get people to show up at your booth. So maybe we should just get some chocolate.
Sure.
That's a good idea. Maybe we can find some environmentally themed chocolate. I'm sure Richardson's Candies would be happy to make us something. Anyway, I'll figure something out along those lines. Okay, so with all of that, this thing is enormously fun, and the biggest problem we've been having in recent years, I think in part because we haven't had a full quorum, a full slate of people, is staffing the table. So I really hope that everybody can spend at least an hour at the table. We sort of asked you to do 2-hour shifts, 10 to 3. So I don't think there's even enough of us to do 2 at the table all day. But I'm planning on being there pretty much all day, so I'm just going to be there. And I'll probably do the setup too. If someone else can help clean up, that would be great. But usually I have to stay for the cleanup too because half the equipment there is mine. So
Well, you have 2 members who aren't here tonight, so
right.
I think, even if everyone did an hour each, you'd probably cover it. And just someone might have to do a little bit of overlap on
Yeah, if
setup
each of-
and end, but
true. If everyone other than me can do an hour, I can be there the whole day. That would cover it. So
I need to apologize up front. I am the chancellor, which is a fancy way of saying the lawyer for the Episcopal Diocese of Western Massachusetts.
yeah.
And we are consecrating our new bishop on April 25th. So
Yeah, you
I will
did.
be in Springfield all day, consecrating our new bishop, Miguelina Howell. And it's exciting. And it's the reason I put my second knee replacement off until May 4th,
Okay.
because I absolutely have to be at that consecration.
That's
So
okay, Don. You've
it's
done
an
your
all-day
part.
affair, and I apologize. So
All right. That seems like a good reason to have to miss it. But if
I'm happy to come, but I just have to come in the morning. I have something in the afternoon.
that's fine. You want to pick a time now, or do you want to talk about that next time? Do you want to be there at 10 or?
Sure, just the first time slot maybe.
Okay, cool. So 10 a.m. Emily, and hopefully we can just do 1-hour time slots, but we'll see how it goes. Michael, Steve, you got any idea about if you can be there, when you can be there? When you can be there.
I do not know yet. I coach the UMass women's frisbee team, and regionals is either that weekend or the weekend after, and they haven't decided what the schedule is. So once I know that, which should be in the next couple weeks, then I can confirm.
All right. And Steve, how about you?
I just need to check with the family. That's the tail end of the kids' spring break week. And we might be away for part of the week. I think we'll be back by Saturday, but I need to double check.
Okay, hope so. We really miss you. But yeah, I understand. Family comes first. So, all right. Okay, so we have the beginning. We also have 2 more people. So with little luck, we'll have a full house. Anything else we should talk about with that, Stephanie?
I don't think so. I think the things that you're planning sound great. So that should keep you very engaged with folks.
Okay, cool. Let's see, what else do we got? Don't have my usual organization up today because I was late with everything. So next on the, okay, now we're up to education and outreach. So Don, Pace, I'm guessing nothing.
And I'm sorry, I haven't really.
It's okay.
I'm just in rehab.
That's
Better
fine.
every day and able to
How,
move around, but
how are
not.
you doing? I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, I am. I am. And I actually started paying attention to work on Tuesday, yesterday. So getting back into the swing of things.
Good, good.
As I told Stephanie, if you see me stand up, it's because I can only sit for so long before I have to straighten everything out. And
Right, right. Okay, coordination with local groups. Um, I do have one thing I could say there. Does anyone else have any coordination with local groups? That doesn't have anyone's name attached to it today. I will make one, it's sort of an announcement, but I could do it here just as well. So the UMass, there is now a UMass Google group. I think I mentioned it last time, called the UMass Carbon Zero Alliance. There are currently 55, almost 60. I just added a few more now members, and we had our first meeting yesterday. It was an extremely good meeting. There's a lot of people who are very interested in what's going on and how to make it better. And it was sort of a working meeting in that we have some documents to try to work on as part of this Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education course that I'm taking. I may have recruited one other person for that course out of the group, I hope. We'll see. But I've been bringing to them the assignments for the course, which is basically an instruction, it's basically how do you build a climate plan and how do you sell it to people and how do you get financing for it and how do you all the things that the UMass administration is not doing, this group I think is going to be doing. So we don't think, honestly, I don't think that this administration will get anywhere. I think they're going to spend a lot of time making people do stuff and then not actually putting any effort into getting financing or doing any outreach or getting any buy-in or letting people even know what they're doing. So, as one of the instructors said, if I can paraphrase something like, if there's no outreach and engagement, there's no plan. And right now there's no outreach engagement from the administration. So me and one other faculty member currently on the subcommittee that's doing everything in secret, are trying to change that dynamic, if not for this administration, for the next one. So we'll have a white paper, we'll have something at the end of this is it's actually a 30-week course. It's 15 meetings. So it's almost 6 months of something like it, more than 6 months. It's a lot of time. That goes into this course, and by the end of it, sometime next fall, I hope we will have some sort of a document that has been well circulated, that has got buy-in from our local legislators, has been around the block a few times, and that people like, in the way of at least the outline of a climate plan. So I've been very involved in that. The other thing that I should mention in coordination with local groups is the Heat Smart Alliance. Some of you, Stephanie mentioned this last time. I'll mention it again. There is going to be another heat pump coach course being given specifically for people in the Pioneer Valley, and they're still looking for recruits for it. They have plenty of space in the class. It starts in April, probably noon on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but it could be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're still trying to decide based on the 8 people who've already signed up. They're gonna basically get to set the time. But there's room for they need at least 10 and to run it, and they can easily get 10 if they open it up to people outside the Pioneer Valley. So that's not a problem. There's plenty of people on the waiting list with Heat Smart. But if we can get more in Pioneer Valley, that would be great, because it means we have heat pump coaches right here in the valley and lots of expertise to help people transition their homes to electric, to clean energy and to clean heat. So those are my 2 announcements for coordination with local groups. And
What was the name of the first group?
the
that you said?
UMass Carbon Zero Alliance. It's a
Okay.
Google group, and it's just a Google group at this point. But if you're
Mhm.
interested in joining it, let me know. If anybody listens to this recording later and you're interested in joining it, just send me a quick email and I will put you on the list. and you'll get our many emails. Not so many. Hopefully not too many. It's a good-
Lori, is Heat Smart or anybody else going to be kind of developing a heat pump coach coordinating heat pump coaching in the Pioneer Valley, like promoting it
Yeah.
and assigning clients
Yeah.
to the coaches, that sort of thing?
Yeah, there sort of is an incipient effort there. It actually got some funding and started to put together a website, and then a couple of the coaches sort of dropped out. So it left Eric Broadbent and I think one other still doing it, and Eric can't do it himself. So I think part of the ulterior motive here is to have enough people in the valley that he can put that back together again. It started off as just a Northampton thing. I told him I'd be happy to join it, if I'd be happy to help with it, but it sort of fell apart. And since I wasn't in Northampton, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but they did get some money. I think they put together a website, but it didn't go any farther than that.
Okay.
So it's still it's trying to get started.
All right. Well, if there's a role that I could help with, I could volunteer to help get that moving.
Yeah, I think Eric was wondering actually if you might be interested in helping with this course. Did he contact you about that already?
He didn't reach out to me. No, he was one of the co-instructors, so I heard him speak frequently, but we didn't have any personal communication.
Yeah, okay. I'll let him know that you might be
Okay.
interested in that. So he's looking for people to run the breakout groups basically.
Sure.
All right. What else? I think that's all I've got there. So with that, I don't really have anything else to add with heat pumps, which is the next education and outreach thing. I did not go to Monday's meeting. I just got busy with too many other things this week. Did anyone go to the Monday meeting? Was it actually held despite the storm? I mean, it was Zoom, so. Did you go, Stephanie? Did you watch it?
Oh, are you talking about the one about the siting and permitting?
No, the heat heat pump. Wasn't the heat pump presentation by CET this Monday?
Oh, no,
that was Tuesday.
it was
Tuesday.
Tuesday, and I did.
You did, okay.
Yes. Yes.
How-
Yeah. So I can, when I do my updates, I'll update
Okay.
on.
All right. We'll wait for that then. Okay, and finally there's the education series. Let me bring that up. We had a bunch of to-dos there. If anyone wants to start, if you've done work on that in the last week or 2 weeks, let us start talking and I'll bring up the spreadsheet meanwhile. Anyone want to volunteer?
I did get a response from the folks at PV Squared, and they are interested in coordinating something. And I'm trying to find it here. My message, here it is. One of their people is an Amherst resident and is up for representing PV Squared. So I think I just need to get back to them with some proposed dates,
Excellent.
and we could begin to line that up.
Okay, and I'll share my screen here now that I have this up. This one here, share.
Do you,
All right,
if you
so-
could, I think when you folks start coordinating with someone, can you loop me in, please? To that correspondence, because then I can get it on the agenda, and I can also help out and step in with coordinating that kind of thing.
Okay, good. So Steve has contacted PV Square, PV. I'm just making some notes. Waiting to hear on Amherst contact. All right. Cool. Okay, what else was on the list? Was there anything more? Where did we leave the zero waste thing?
So
Which is
I
news.
reached out to a few folks at Town Hall. One is not following that effort at all and was not able to give us an update. Another individual I've sent an email message to, but have not heard back. So it's one of those initiatives that I think is not sort of like not on everybody's radar. which is why I'm not even sort of up on top of what's happening with that right now. So,
Okay. All right. Demystifying community solar. So I actually, yeah, this is actually getting really interesting. I'm beginning to think that community solar is no longer the interesting thing, and balcony solar is. So I've been educating myself a little bit about balcony solar. Steve, do you know anything about balcony solar?
Not much. There was an article, I think, in the New York Times this past week that basically was, or maybe that was a bunch of states or legislatures are considering allowing it
Yeah.
to be a plug-in feedback to the house, but not beyond the house. Maybe Utah's the only state that currently allows it, but at least the article was portraying it as something that nobody had any real objections to it other than some electrician unions. And it seemed like it was moving forward.
Well, it's the electrician union, and it's actual code problems. It's problems with code. So,
Yeah.
so yeah. So the issues are that so there's actually two types of balcony solar. There's a type that I mentioned last fall and bought myself a $1,500 setup to do, which plugs into which charges a generator, which you can then put anywhere in your house and use the generator, the battery basically, to run something. So my plan for this summer is to use it to run all of my electronics, for example, or maybe my dehumidifier downstairs or something like that. Something, it charges on the sun and it feeds electricity into the house into a called the generator, but it's really just a big old battery, and that battery has outlets on it and USB ports and things to charge stuff with. And that's one way to do it. But the better way to do it is to be able to just plug it into an outlet. And it provides a load. It provides energy just as, not a load, it provides energy just as a load uses energy. Just as your toaster uses energy, it puts energy in. And the problem with that is twofold. It's the GFI breakers that we have will no longer work correctly because you're putting current in from somewhere that's not in the circuit you plug it into, right? Uh, your circuit breakers basically won't work right. And so the GFI circuit breakers will no longer function correctly, and there will be no circuit breaker that will function correctly if you don't do something about it. There are codes that are supposed to come out from, what's it called? It's a UL. There are various organizations that do the standards for electricians, and they haven't done the standards for plug-in solar yet, balcony solar in this country. So I was at a Third Act. That's the other organ. I guess I could have done this as coordinating with Third Act. I was at a Third Act meeting, which was very interesting. It had people from all around the country, Third Act organizations in every state, talking about what they knew about what was going on in their state. It actually is in the unfortunate omnibus clean energy bill, quote unquote, affordable energy bill, that will kill Mass Save in its current form. So there is something about it that will support it in Massachusetts, but it's really a matter of when do the codes come out? When do the no one's, you can't really install it if you can't install it to code, and there's no code yet. So that's sort of the problem. That's the biggest problem. The fire departments in various states are also opposing it for the same reason, really. They think people are going to install it willy-nilly and burn houses down left and right without knowing what they're doing.
Lori, I could maybe, so, I mean, you seem pretty on top of the status of this, but I mean, we could invite one of the building inspectors to talk about it, or the electrical inspector, maybe, if they'd be interested in.
That could be interesting. Because
I just don't know. I mean, I also don't want to necessarily put them on the spot because it might be one of those things that,
they might not have thought about it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I could just reach out rather than putting them on the agenda for a topic. Let me just reach out and talk to someone, and at the very least, I could maybe report back.
I think that's a smart idea.
Yeah.
People like that are going to be very careful and are, if it's not in the code, then they can't endorse it,
Right.
or even speak in favor of it.
Right. I'll talk to the building commissioner and maybe the electrical inspector.
So I really think this is going to be the
Is-
more interesting thing. So,
For balcony solar, like the main integration, I would think would be for like like residential multifamily units, right? Like I know it can be single family homes, but like
right.
really the bang for your buck is on letting single multifamily units put in their own solar systems, right?
Yeah, well, I'd take it too, man. If I could save some money on
Yeah.
electrical.
No, I know. I understand like single family homes definitely could use it, but it seems
But
like
it's
the main intent or the integration into like the commercial sector would be for multifamily high rises or up to 5 stories type of things.
yeah.
I'm just wondering how many of those are in Amherst? Like how many do we have? How many multifamily units with balconies do we have?
I think
I
a
feel like
little.
most don't have balconies.
Yeah, I don't know that they have balconies. They might have like little.
Yeah, it's
It
kind of
doesn't
Yeah.
need a balcony. That's one way to mount them.
yeah.
They could be
I'll
mounted on the ground. They could
I'll
be
look it up.
mounted off the side on the side of the house, I believe.
Yeah.
They're usually well, the ones I
Okay.
was looking at
Yeah,
are
yeah, that
fairly
makes
small.
sense.
They're not huge, and they're
6 feet
limited
long.
by the capacity of a single circuit since they're designed to plug into a circuit. So no
Right.
more than like 1,500 watts.
Right.
Um, so their household size, a household, I don't know if they could have more than one or not, but and the company's claiming a fairly fast payback, a 3-4 year payback, I believe. But I think that would depend on how well you position it to get maximum solar
Right.
production.
Yeah, I think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be faster than that if you've got a good southern exposure and you keep it plugged in all the time. Because I mean they're not
Mhm.
that terribly expensive, and the price of electricity is crazy. So yeah, the payback's pretty quick. So yeah, that's and it won't provide all of your electric needs, but it'll sure reduce your bill. So probably more than buying into a community solar will, right, where you're sort of limited to about a 10 or 12% bonus.
I was just looking. I had read an article about these not recently. I was just checking my email. The Elders Climate Action Group just yesterday had an event democratizing solar, what balcony plug-in systems mean for energy access, with a rep from Bright Solar, one of the companies that I read about. That was yesterday. They usually, after a day or two, put them up on their websites, the recordings of these events. So there may be something up on the Elders Climate Action or ECA website on plug-in
Elders.
solar soon.
Okay, check out Elders. Let's see, where is this? Check out
Yeah,
Elders Climate Action website. Okay. So that's something to think about. All right, so Stephanie's going to figure out if there's someone in the town who might want to talk about that, and meanwhile, I'll keep just following it and seeing what I can learn. What else do we have? I was gonna follow up on this one, and I did not. I apologize. I will do that for next time. I do think things are a little crazy right now in the State House. Okay, and this, Michael C. Let's see, what will college is. So this, Michael and Steve. So this sort of jives with the forum that's coming up. So there is it's now scheduled for March 27th. So March 27th at 2:30 in the afternoon. It's only 2 hours long. There's going to be a forum at UMass that will have Smith College and UMass reporting, and also out of the area, UMass Chan Medical School and University of Michigan. The idea is to discuss different technologies. But this is more local, trying to get folks here to talk a little bit about what each of the colleges in Amherst, the 3 colleges in Amherst, are doing. Is there anyone reach out yet for this?
I did. And
Ah.
Tetsuya did. He's not here tonight, but he did give me a quick update. So he spoke with Westrips at Amherst College. Wes suggested somebody else who might be a better fit than himself to do this. So there is interest, possibly at Amherst College. He hasn't followed up with the other connection yet, but I'm sure he will. And
Good.
I reached out to Ezra, but I haven't heard back. I only just reached out to him, so.
Okay. All right. So I'd be interested in hearing what happens there because I think that would be very interesting. Um, I think that would be a really cool thing to do. So
And just to
let's
clarify, this is just like an hour during one of our regular
Right.
meetings, right?
tell us what you're doing.
Right, okay,
Go
yeah,
go and brag about what you're doing and tell us what you're and give us some numbers too, please. Give us
okay.
your
Well, if you
CO2
want numbers, I think we need to be sort of specific with our
Yeah,
ask.
just ask them what their carbon footprint, since we are ECAC and we keep the CARP and the CARP has all the carbon numbers in it, just give us some idea of what your CO2 numbers have been doing, what your decarbonization efforts have been doing over the last few years since, and where you're headed. I'm sure that any one of these folks could, I know Ezra could answer that. He might not want to, but he can. And I'm sure Wes and I'm sure Steve knows too.
Yeah, I think I framed it as to give an update on, decarbonization goals and what the institutions are doing
Yeah.
to meet those goals.
Right, that's good enough, I think. If they don't tell us what their actual output is, somebody like me will ask. You might warn them.
You don't,
Maybe you
I want
ask
them to
how do they track performance?
That's a good question.
And let them respond.
You should ask Michael.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
ask.
That's good. That's good. All right, so we're slowly moving forward on these things. Let's just keep doing that. I'll try to send out reminders this week before the next meeting to follow up on this stuff. I sort of let this drop the last 2 weeks. All right, should we go on to the next? Anything else?
Is there potential, like, I guess, is there a timeline that we're trying to hold these series? Like during
I
the summer, spring?
I think during the spring is better than during the summer. People are around and thinking
That's what I
about
was
it.
thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if we can get this pulled together sooner rather than later, let's aim. If we can aim for the solar is the one that I think we're the closest on, maybe, right? Maybe trying to get that one together, maybe in about a month. Does that sound reasonable, Steve? A month or 6 weeks?
Yes, that gives me a timeline. I will reach back out to PV Squared and see if that fits with them.
And then I think for the this one is a little more, and the encouraging activism, which really isn't just about this anymore. These two are going to depend on the schedule of Mindy Dome and Joe or their representatives. But I'll reach out to them this week. That might be sooner rather than later. You never know. I'll ask them, and so this is separate. This is solar post. I don't, Steve. There's sort of two solar things here. Then I wonder. Probably they should be separate. Let's keep the because let's keep this separate from the balcony solar thing or the community solar thing. But it would make a nice one too if we could do them one after the other. So start with this and then see if we can follow it with something along balcony solar or community solar or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the solar one with PV Squared seems like we've got a contact and they're willing to do it. So that seems
Exactly.
like we just need to confirm a date with them.
Yeah.
We still need to find someone for the balcony solar
Yeah, that's different.
discussion. So that will be a longer time frame.
Yeah. And then time frame for this depends on what we hear back from Tetsuya
Yeah.
and Ezra. But it's certainly the sort of thing that Ezra can do with easily. So he might be willing to just do that sometime soon. But let's try to get it in this spring sometime, right? That's sort of the time frame we're working with. All right. Should we move onward? Okay, so let me stop sharing. Go back to the agenda. UMass Climate Plan. I don't have much more to add on the UMass Climate Plan other than what I talked about before, coordinating with other groups. This is now advisory and support stuff. Unless any of you have input or want to join the Google group or, it's mostly, I don't have anything in the way of advisory and support coming out of UMass, that's for sure. Or coming to the town the only advisory and support stuff we have here is what we already wrote to the town manager some time ago, which is he really ought to be asking UMass what the heck is going on. And I don't know that Paul ever did that. Maybe you didn't hear anything about that, did you, Stephanie? A long time ago we wrote a letter to the town manager asking that he follow up. This was when Laura was still on the committee. She wrote the letter, I think, that he inquire about renewable diesel and their plans for renewable diesel, and we still don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they've decided. We don't know where they bought renewable diesel from this year, if they bought it, how much they're burning, and all of that makes the air in the valley dirtier. So I have not been able to get that information out of the administration, but the town manager probably could. So draft solar bylaw, anything there, Steve?
No, it was just in the half an hour before we started our meeting. I was quickly trying to watch the CRC deliberations, and I saw that they were incorporating staff feedback. Stephanie might be able to say more, but they're still chugging through and tuning up what's now the what are they calling it, Stephanie? The renewable energy bylaw?
Clean energy bylaw.
Clean energy bylaw, right.
So, yeah, I can give an update on this. So as Steve mentioned, I worked with convening staff members over 3 sessions, 3 2-hour sessions, and we reviewed the document and got staff feedback and reported back to the CRC. They incorporated some of the suggested changes, but they've only gotten about halfway through the document. And after the last meeting, they still had some additional questions for staff. I circulated those to the relevant staff members, got their responses, and now this next meeting that is tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m. we'll be discussing the staff responses and then reviewing the next half and hopefully getting through the rest of the document. And if they have any additional comments for staff, then I will once again be reaching out to staff, accumulating those responses and getting them back to the CRC. So it's still got a few more rounds of incorporating edits, but I think they're getting very close to having the final draft. Once they have a final draft, the next step is to then have the document sent back to the town council, and then the town council will refer it back to the planning board and to the CRC for them to hold public hearings. And hopefully we may be able to combine those hearings into one. It might be like there's one meeting with both boards, and then each board might then hold their own separate meeting for specific edits or whatever suggestions for the public. But anyway, so the process is still going to take some time before we have a finalized version. But there will be, the point at which they have the public hearings is really a good time for this committee to have the draft, review it, and if you have comments, that's the public hearing is the time to follow up.
Okay, so you think we'll have a date for the public hearing by next?
No, not by the next time, but I will, as soon as we get that, I will let you know. But I don't, it's going to be a little bit, I don't anticipate the public hearings will happen till, I think at the earliest in April, like maybe end of April, but that would be the earliest.
Right.
I still wish that the town or town manager would ask ECAC to review a draft and provide feedback. Yes, I know we could provide it through the public comment, but it seems like this lands squarely within the purpose we are created for, and they are not turning to us for seeking our advice.
Well, to be fair, the solar bylaw committee was chaired by the liaison from the ECAC. So you had the committee basically had direct influence during that process. And what's happening now is, then it goes to CRC, and so they sort of do what they do. So,
Let's just make sure we do it and it goes on the agenda at the appropriate time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I will let you know. I've been giving you updates as we go along. We don't have a final draft yet. So
Yeah.
as soon as we have a final draft that goes anywhere, I'll get it to you. I mean, it's just not done yet.
Right.
The state regulations are the revised or finalized regs are expected out sometime in March this next month. So there may be adjustments that need to be made when the state regs come out to be consistent.
And I will say that because I don't want you all to feel that your assessment of the bylaw is not important. The planning board and the CRC have regulatory functions, and that's why those two boards are specifically being asked to respond. And, I, as your, the sort of town liaison to you and the town regarding sustainability, can make sure that you get it and that you can give some comment and that it can be passed on to the CRC. So that's why I'm trying to keep you updated. But again, that's why you had a liaison to the development of the document at the very first iteration of it.
All right. Anything more on solar bylaw? About transportation, Emily, anything more there?
I haven't heard, but I haven't looked either. I guess I could look and see if they got more people for the committee.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can come back to that. That's certainly an issue that comes back again and again. Regional and state policy updates. Okay, I can give a very important update here. All right, so if you haven't heard yet, the very bad, horrible House Bill 4744 that did a lot of damage to Mass Save and also took out of the calculation of economic cost of use of fossil fuels versus green energy. It took out the societal and environmental costs in that calculation, and did a lot of other damaging things, has now been superseded by House Bill 5151, which is better, but still contains in Section 69 a $1 billion cut to Mass Save, which would gut the program. For perspective, Mass Save costs each of us, if you have a single family home and are paying about $300 or $400 a month for electric, costs you about $12.75 a month. About 3% of your bill is Mass Save. If you get a heat pump, you are eligible for, I think I got like a $7,000 rebate or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I got a very big incentive to put in a heat pump. And it would take something like 49 years for me to, at $12.75 a month to come up with that, have paid that same amount, right, to make that up. So for anybody who does any sort of an energy transition, who does any sort of a, who buys whether you're buying an electric lawnmower or putting in heat pumps, there are incentives and rebates that you can get that have been a real boon to making this state greener, to trying to save the planet and the state and do a reasonable energy transition. So gutting Mass Save is, as far as I'm concerned, a poison pill in this bill. And a lot of other people are up in arms about it too. There was a very good, let me find it real quick, Mass Power Forward. Unfortunately, this came out of, I am less and less impressed with how Massachusetts does legislation. I guess I've lived in different states my whole life, and every state's different, but Massachusetts has the most opaque process. And this thing came out of committee, out of the House Ways and Means Committee yesterday, completely changed, and is being voted on Thursday, tomorrow, starting at 1 p.m. So Mass Power Forward put out a, let's see, H5151. Let's see if I can find it really quickly. Mass Power Forward, come on, Mass Power Forward. It was right on their website. Here it is. One moment. Campaigns. No. Ah, come on. I will find a. So what I'm going to do is find a. I sent it. Am I still sharing? I shouldn't be sharing. If I'm sharing,
You're
no,
not
I'm
sharing.
not sharing, right? Okay, good. Let me check my email then to try to find something. Mass Power Forward. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Mass Power Forward. Okay, I'll share this one. This is the copy that Mothers Out Front made, but it's the same document. I just want to share this so you can see. I will send a link to this to ECAC afterwards, and also we should. I don't know if it's worth putting in the packet because it'll be after tomorrow. It'll be worthless. But this is the action guide from Mass Power Forward, asking you to please call your representative. Now, Mindy Dome, I'm pretty sure, is on our side on this. There are some good amendments in it and some really terrible amendments in it. This looks like the wrong. Well, this is the right one. Support, oppose. What happened to 69? H155151. That's weird. Maybe they changed the numbering again. So anyway, this is a script to follow. There's more information in this. I'll try to find a different thing to send you guys just for your information. This is not what I was looking for. This is the action guide, not the information page. But it does have a script. Yeah, this is actually what was in there. So this is it. So it has a lot of good things in it. But the real problem, and the reason they're calling it an affordability bill, right? If you cut $1 billion out of Mass Save, you save everybody $12.75 a month, assuming you live in a single-family home, right? And it's not a big savings on the scale of things, and it's also not the problem. The problem is that the power company, the utility companies, are still putting in gas pipelines and maintaining gas pipelines, and spending an enormous amount of money on that and charging us for it on our bills. So that's a much bigger issue than Mass Save, and killing Mass Save is not the right answer. So anyone listening to this before tomorrow, please call. Well, Mindy is already on our side, but call her to thank her and support her. I'm pretty sure she supports our work on this. All right, I'll leave that and send a link later. So that all happened very fast, just like with everything else. It's really confusing, too. If you look at the legislative website, it says that an amendment was made to 4747, therefore, for which H5151 was therefore put in place or something like that, which makes it unclear whether 5151 is amended to 4747 or whether it takes the place of. But Mass Power Forward and everybody else seems to think it just takes the place of. So if that's the case, a lot of bad stuff has left, but there's still some pretty nasty things in there. The climate bill the climate bank has also been, I think, incorporated into this huge bill, and there's something in here about balcony solar somewhere.
Huh.
So it could be a good bill, but they need to get rid of a few of the sections. All right, that's my legislative update. I don't know I think at this point it's too late to ask the town to do anything. It's just a matter of individuals calling and keeping track of it. If you have friends who live in the Boston area who have other representatives, contact them. All right, that's the only thing I've got. Staff update, Stephanie? Or is there anything else for advisory and support? Anything we should be thinking about? Anything we should be working on in the way of advising the town? If not, then Stephanie, staff updates.
Sure. I had my first interview with a potential fellow to work on the GHG inventory for the summer.
Mhm.
We've got 2 more interviews tomorrow. Angela Mills, the executive assistant to the town manager, has been joining me on those interviews. So we should have an idea of who we'd like to have join us this summer by the end of the week after we have the interviews. But I won't, once we make a decision, the fellow has to make a decision too. So UNH is still coordinating that whole effort. So I think they want everything sort of squared away. So by April, we should have a decision made on who it is that will come work with us this summer. So excited about that process moving forward. It is budget season. I had my meeting with the Joint Capital Planning Committee last week, along with the fire department. Things are pretty tight. The sort of recommendations from the finance director and the town manager, I believe at this point, it's not finalized yet, but we received sustainability received $250,000 last year. It's being proposed to be cut $50,000 this year, this next budget cycle down to 200,000. What's more concerning is like sort of the projected out years moving forward, like over the next 5 years, to reducing that to $100,000 a year. And it's frustrating because part of the problem is that we haven't really spent a lot of the funding at the moment, but that's not because we don't plan to. It's that, in order to do things, we need studies. We need like actual studies and assessments, and then we need engineering done. And we can't just move ahead with some of the projects until we have those things in place. But also it takes time because there's other initiatives that the facilities manager and facilities is working on. There's just, again, there's a lot of work to be done with not a lot of staff to do it. So that's really a challenge. I think Lori, you and I had a conversation about deferred building maintenance. It catches up with you, and all of a sudden now the projects that might have cost, a few $1,000s or tens of thousands of dollars in the past are now like hundreds of thousands of dollars with inflation and the cost of materials and all that. So it's a challenge, and we have several new building projects that are moving forward. So for instance, the elementary school, the new fire station, the new DBW, Jones Library renovations, those things are very expensive. And so they are having an impact on, certainly on our budget for things like facilities. So, we want those things to happen. They're important to happen, but these other things need to happen, but it's just a balancing act, right? So we're going to have a great new green school, which is wonderful. But, on the other side of that, like deferred maintenance happens with other buildings. So, what we don't want to happen, and I think the point we're trying to make is that we don't want to get to a point where, these suddenly become building projects that now either require that we just like completely shut down a building because, it's in such disrepair we can't occupy it, or that it's going to cost millions of dollars to have things done. Like, for instance, the town hall roof project itself, that's a few $1 million to replace the roof. So it's just everything is very, very, very expensive, and it's not for lack of desire or planning to move these things forward. It's just that there are several things that have to happen before we actually do that piece. So I am pushing for getting some weatherization done. As I think I told you at the last meeting, but just want to confirm that there's a meeting scheduled for Munson Library on Friday to do the building assessment of Munson, and weatherization is part of that. That's one of the things we're going to look to have Green Communities fund. And then at the fire station, the North Fire Station, we did have an initial assessment, and they're coming out again to sort of develop the plan to do weatherization for that building as well. So those things are moving forward. Those are positive steps, and that's great. We need them to happen. So that's some first steps that are moving forward. And then for the Climate Leader Communities technical assistance applications, we're going to be looking at the Banks Community Center. We're going to need an engineering study to decarbonize that building. And then the town hall, we're also looking to have an engineering study for town hall as well. So it's just, again, these things it just takes time. Every step, everything that we want to do is like an application and an assessment and a study, and you have to have those things. And if we're going to apply for funding, we have to have those things. So anyway, that's my big update. And then Lori, you asked about the CET presentation the other night on the Energy
Yes.
Savers Home Loan Program.
Mhm.
And Steve, if I get some of this wrong, please jump in. But this is an additional loan that homeowners can apply for. I think it's single family homeowners can apply for, and you can use it, like you can stack it with like a heat loan. So you could get a heat loan and apply for this additional loan. To qualify for this loan, you have to demonstrate that there'll be a 20% energy saving to implementing whatever it is you're implementing with these funds. There are add-ons that can be applied. So for instance, if you wanted to remove a boiler from your home and you wanted to sort of use the loan for the cost of doing that, those are add-ons that you can apply for. But again, you have to sort of demonstrate this 20% savings. There are different rates, and I believe those are based on the household income in terms of whether the loan is a 0.5% loan or what was it? Was it a 2%? I think the other is like a 2% loan, but they're based on income. So if you're lower income, if there's like 80% of your household income is within a certain range, and there's a table which I can share with you all, I can send it to you and then add it to the packet. But there's a table that sort of shows by county. It's based on sort of household income and which rate you would apply, which rate you would be eligible for. So each county has 2 rates. I didn't fully comprehend all like the numbers on that. So, but I can share that information. But there is going to be an information session on April 8th. And I'm hoping to have a social media blast about that from the town so that homeowners can attend that session. And that's being put on by CET. So again, that's April 8th, and there'll be the same information or more information. But that session is basically what we attended, but this is specifically for homeowners.
Right, I actually had
What-
that on my calendar and didn't go, but I was also wondering about how the CET heat pump program, they were going to do another presentation.
That's a different one. So
For the heat
that
pump.
happened last night.
Yeah.
And Steve attended, but Steve was one of our 2 attendees.
Oh.
The problem was that unfortunately, the homeowner that was going to do a testimonial and answer Q&A could not attend because of the snowstorm that happened Monday. there was a rescheduling of their child science fair and it ended up being rescheduled to last night. So our session was only a half hour and unfortunately it, to my dismay, I did not record it. But it was only a half hour. The information is really not different than what we've had because we didn't have the testimony.
Right.
It's really not different.
Right.
In fact, it's even less information that we had in the two previous sessions, which are available online. So
Yeah.
I think, I'm trying to think of how we do have the testimony, the recorded testimony, that was sort of like, they're sort of little sound bites that CET put together and recordings, and we do have the links to those. The town has the links to those, and those are going to be put out on the town's website. I think there are also sustainability dashboard, and those are going to be circulated and available for people.
Maybe send them to ECAC when you have them.
Well, they won't be, yeah, like I don't have.
There'll be a
they'll
page,
shared.
presumably, with
I
the links
can-
on it.
Yeah, they're on the town's heat pump page if you go to the CET
Okay.
website and the Amherst heat pump program, those
Okay.
testimonials are there. So that's
Gotcha.
where to go for any information on the heat pump program.
Gotcha.
So, I think that's a lot, of
Yeah.
my update. I already kind of gave you the Sustainability Festival update in terms of still trying to secure the funding, but we have lots of interested participation and which is always really great.
Excellent.
What was the
Okay.
name of the loan program that
The
you just?
Energy Savers Home Loan.
Okay.
Program, I believe is the name of it. And Michael, if you just put something in, I can always correct it and update it. If you wanted
I
to
got
just
it.
highlight it, yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's see. Where are we? Agenda items for the next meeting agenda. Anything we should add or take out? Just as things to think about, Stephanie and I were talking about timing of things. After this summer and after we have the new carbon inventory for the town, it'll be time to work on an update of the CARP. So that's going to give us some real meat to dig into late this year and early next, so in about a year. That's going to be our big thing that we're going to be working on. Until then, I think the education outreach stuff is important, but if anybody has an idea, I feel a little bit like this group really needs something it can dig its teeth into, that it can do. Like writing or rewriting or updating a CARP is something that we workshop at every meeting, right? That's going to be something we can really dig our teeth into, something that I think will bring people into the group, right? But if anybody has ideas for other sorts of things that this group can do in the way of not just education and outreach, but things to support the town's efforts that we'd have to get buy-in from Stephanie, of course, but it doesn't hurt to have ideas, right? Things that we can do to support the town's efforts. And I do hope that maybe this summer we will have, after we have our new members, we will have another retreat and sit down and talk about all this stuff. Come up with a new 2-year plan or something like that. All right. So if there's no specific recommendations for the agenda, we look for a public comment. I don't think we have any public, so, right? Yep. So in that case, shall we adjourn? All in favor? Aye, see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
All
you
right,
all.
have a great night.
Bye.
Thank you.